You know, at every phase of my life, I have realized there are words that you just can't say without some dire consequences resulting in the wake of you saying them. I'm not saying that the words in question don't deserve to be viewed as such. This dynamic in my relationship to certain words has existed throughout the entire time I've spoken the English language. Even when I was a toddler and the words coming out my mouth were debatably English. Hi again, guys, and welcome back to Quite with a Y. Today's topic is another one where I'm trying to prove that I can yap about literally anything for long enough to get ads on a video about it. And the topic in question is, what's in a slur? That's an exaggeration, but it's like, what's in a curse word? I remember the terminology for what was off-limits language got upgraded from as a child, they were bad words that I would get sent into the corner for preschool for saying. Then they became curses or swears or cussing, whatever your descriptive term of choice was, up all the way until now, where the words that used to be the things that would absolutely get me very material consequences are now things that are in my daily vocabulary. Let me take you through the history of it all. Back when I was in preschool, I was under the impression that bad words constituted things like shut up and stupid. You could communicate these same sentiments to somebody, but in a much lighter way. Specifically when I was in preschool and, early elementary as well, I was consistently told from all authority figures, be they my teachers or my parents, or just other adults who I was having discussions with, that stupid and shut up were off limits. The thing is, you would hear these words in media that you had consumed as a child all the time because they weren't exactly going to get a movie pulled from theaters if they were heard amongst a family-friendly audience. That said, if in preschool you called another student stupid, there was going to be some material harm done onto you. Well, material or emotional. Your parents would be hearing about it, your star would be going down a level, you would be moved from the green light to yellow light on the behavior scale. There were a lot of different versions of these conduct barometers that I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but just transpose whatever I'm talking about onto the one that you're familiar with. So it was taboo to say stupid and shut up around the wrong person. But like anything you get told not to do as a child, you think you're like getting away with something, or you're real skeevy if you do the thing or say the thing you're told not to and you don't get caught doing it. So you best believe at them lunch tables when the teachers had too many people at once to look over, yeah, me and my friends were trading a stupid, a shut up. I remember getting to advance in the terminology I used for the same things as I got older. Like when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to call poop anything other than poop. This thing came in tiers. It went from eventually I was given the pass to say crud and crap, things I was also under the impression were forever off limits to me. I would get similar treatment from the authority figures in my life if I ended up referring to poo as such. Of course, as I got older, these words became part of my dialect, but there was always another tier just out of reach. Shit. And I think being aware of curse words as a wider language was when I was really forced to get dunked in the water and see the real levels of things you can't say. Like, obviously, you can't say shit or fuck around your teacher. They are truly bad words. They are curses. You must swear them off. They have incredibly weighty definitions behind them, which is why they are called swears. You must mean them with intention when you say them. It was another tier of language that after I had gotten past the crud, crap, shut up, stupid phase, it was the next thing that I thought was off limits for me, because them being invoked had a certain level of weight to it. I had seen friends of mine get caught saying shit or damn, and they would get sent to the corner. But like any young person, the thing you have been told you can't do, you of course want you do. Me and friends, or even kids I had just met, would trade our collection of all the bad words that we knew. There would be some debates over if certain things even were bad words. I knew certain people that hadn't gotten past their crap phase yet. They were still scared of saying that as much as they were of saying shit. Of course, I had to enlighten them that that's actually a tier below, buddy. You are not as far along as I am. I would greedily hear about new curse words and add them to my lexicon. I remember being one of the first people in my friend group to know what the word fuck was because I ended up walking in on a rated R movie my parents were watching at the exact wrong moment. The right moment for me to have a social advantage in the second grade playground, but the worst moment for my parents who were trying to not put that in front of me. It was always a good day when I could add a new swear word like, I don't know, piss to my arsenal. But it was even better when I was the one who got to be the forebearer of knowledge to someone else. It really made you feel like, yeah, I'm more mature. I really run these elementary school streets, you know what I mean? Even then, these things start to lose their charm, either because they are less novel or because you start using them so much that you get a little uncareful about what it is you're saying around certain people. I will never forget this, but I believe it was one day in third grade, I had come home to my mom absolutely furious with me. I had no idea what had happened because I hadn't done anything particularly egregious at school recently, and then she said, I know what you've been doing. And a million things run through my head. This could be any number of things that I didn't realize were gonna piss off my mom and were against the rules, or that I had been running on the side as, you know, like a kind of rebellious hustle. One of them being swearing a lot with the other kids in the neighborhood. Turns out, this one kid that I knew, who had taught me some of the swears I knew, who would willingly fling them around me and around my other friends, had completely spilled the beans on me. It was not only hypocritical, but it was unprovoked. I asked them why they did it down the line, and they said, I don't know, I just kind of felt like it, because they were impulsive. It proved to me that I truly was more mature because I had the stones and the self-control not to do things on a whim. I was really just ahead of the game. But when I say that these were words of consequence if I got caught saying them, I had the full force of what felt like the law in my life at that time brought down upon me. No game consoles for weeks. No going to hang out with those same friends who had snitched on me and said that I said all these terrible things when they did the same things themselves, I'm sure without telling my mom that they were also accomplices. It was a taste of justice and betrayal that I don't think I would be the same person without experiencing, and it was a big part of teaching me that actions have consequences, especially the things you do when nobody's looking. It speaks to your moral character and teaches you to more selectively trust people. But that time in my life passed. I did not stop saying those words. I was just a lot more careful around the skeevy fucks in my neighborhood. And by the time I had gotten to middle school, I'm hitting like puberty, bro. I'm seeing these words in media nowadays. It's not like a one-off thing that I catch when I'm not supposed to hear it. It's something I'm hearing my favorite YouTubers say. That did have its own level of consequences. You might remember in a previous video, I said I got banned from YouTube for years because my mom caught me listening to a Pokemon Let's Play where the dude who was playing the game said a bad word. But even that came to pass where I was eventually given my rights to use YouTube back. In my everyday vernacular, these words, fuck, shit, damn, bitch, were said by me and my friends very casually over conversation. They were called swears, but it felt like they didn't have the weight they had in the past because of how much we had watered it down. I, of course, still didn't say it at home because my mom didn't like that. Still doesn't. You know, more power to her. I respect that. Hell, it was even to the point where eventually a cool teacher was considered someone who wouldn't call you on it or at least wouldn't formally punish you. They'd just have a smirk to their face and be like, cut it out or something like that. You know, as you get older and become less and less of a kid, the language you get told is off limits starts to have more backing couched in reality. This is where the concept of the slur comes up. The thing is about slurs is that just about everyone has one that applies to them. There are some slurs much stronger than other ones. I'm sure you can think of a few in your head. You better not be saying them out loud right now. But the fact of the matter is, and part of the growing pains of all this is realizing that there is a genuine tangible difference about all this stuff. Like cursing growing up wasn't appropriate for school. It's still not appropriate for the workplace in most places. There are certain swear words I can get away with putting in titles like damn or hell, or even if I censor fuck, I can put that in a YouTube video while still getting ads. I can say all of these on Twitch and not have to worry about getting banned. But all of those you aged out of because they were words that had more general application across society and language. Where when you hit a certain age or you hit certain context of social interaction, you were entrusted to use these things a little more responsibly and with discretion that it wouldn't hurt other people with, or that you would only use them in casual places where you wouldn't be bothering anybody or disrupting some social order, especially places where kids who were your age when you couldn't say them wouldn't hear them. To put it lightly, there's a little more going on when you talk about slurs. They usually have some real historical background around why they are offensive to say and something that shouldn't be in your mouth. For the people who it affects, there are very complex social reasons for why they choose to reclaim it, but why it's inappropriate for other people to. It's not fun to look back on and say, huh, we used to think saying these things was so bad, but now we say them all the time. There's no expiration date on the veracity of these words, man. If you have that 2016 edgy mentality where words is just words and only mean something if they have intention behind them, the thing you have to grow out of is the mindset that your actions don't have consequences. If you had that edgy phase, it's learning that, yeah, these have real effects on real people. They have been used to genuinely try and hurt folk who have been affected by these words growing up. And even if you're someone who's affected by a particular slur, or like a community successfully reclaimed it, like LGBT people often going as the queer community these days, there's even nuances within them spaces because of the actual emotional scars words like them can leave on folk. Like, if you follow my Twitter or watch some of my videos, it's no secret that I'm a big fan of the FAG word. That's a word I can reclaim and use because it's actually affected me, as well as other words that, for the sake of monetization, I'm not going to directly repeat here. That said, the way I deal with these words is not the same as everybody else who has also been affected by them. And if my way of coping with that harm is to reclaim these words and use them in more lighthearted contexts, it only really works if the person I'm talking with is somebody who can also appreciate or be fine with that kind of thing. If somebody sets a boundary of, listen, I understand that you are are able to reclaim this word, but it's not something I want said around me. If I continue to use it around them after they express their wishes that I do not, I would be the shitty friend in that case. I would say it's probably not cool if they try to tell me not to use it ever when it is something I've been affected by, but using it in their presence when they've set a clear boundary is something you have to consider. The words that are off limits as you get older become a lot more nuanced. It's not just aging out, it's actually considering where these things come from and why they hurt people. It's understanding where the weight that is given to them comes from. That definitely took me a longer time to recognize than it should have, but it probably always will. It's a forever going on battle. And that's the thing, people might not always agree on the context that makes something so bad to certain people. And there's spirited debate around some of these things that will probably not be concluded for some time. This kind of spiraled from a kind of tongue-in-cheek, ooh, I used to think these were such bad swear words, and now here we are in this fucking conversation about language and etymology. One that I am not equipped to take to its greatest extent. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. If you want to send me topics, that kwytebox@gmail.com is open. I look at it sometimes. Anyways, that's all I got. Piss off.